Hey, how you doing? I thought I was going to be a few seconds early, but I guess not. But that's cool. Hey, it's Wednesday. Now remember, tomorrow is Thursday because what happened to me 2 weeks ago is I did my Wednesday show. I woke up on Thursday and I thought it was Friday. And I'm going like, well, this is nice. So I called my brother and I said, "What time do you want us over tonight?" And he says, "I don't want you to come." What? You don't want me to come? No. Why are you coming on Thursday? I said, "It's Saturday. I just did my show last night." And he said, "No, it is Thursday." So I did my show last 2 Wednesdays ago. And so tomorrow is Thursday. I want us all to recognize that it is Thursday tomorrow. And I'm exceptionally thirsty tonight. So it's Thursday tomorrow, garbage day for me. And who else is garbage tomorrow? I think Randy has garbage tomorrow. A few of us have garbage tomorrow. So there we go. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is check and make sure that all is well with the world and that I did not accidentally go unlisted instead of live, which I have done before. So what I just do is I come over here, I double check, and it is visibility is public and I am live. So now I am free to start on my topic for tonight, which is how wonderful the FX2 is. Okay, so I did a couple of videos on Patreon, and the Patreon, I haven't used it in quite a while, so I activated it. And both times that I did it, I grabbed the A7CR. And you know why? I think it's just the convenience of the size, honestly. It's the size that attracts me to grabbing this guy right here. I just open it up. I turn it on. I face it towards myself. Now, I do have to be careful because there's a lot of buttons right here. Which camera am I on? I'm on this camera. So there's a lot of buttons right here. And if I grab it like this, I could push these buttons. So what I do is I make sure I reach over into this flat area. And when I reach over into this flat area, I know there's no buttons there. It's completely flat. You see where my index finger is pointing? This whole area and all the way across here, everything is very flat. So I am not trying to damage this because Mr. Camera Junkie fixed that for me. So I don't want it falling. Okay, so I put my fingers here, and when I put my fingers here, I push them together with my thumb here. And I don't know why the Nikon ZR looks dark now. What did you do, Peter? Why are you blaming me? My Randall Roy coffee blend. Okay, so now when I pin this here, I just walk around or do whatever I want to do. I make a quick video. And the camera is light. I'm using the 11mm 1.8 and on the FX2, which is a little bit heavier. But believe it or not, even though it's a little bit heavier, it's just as convenient. So I don't know why that's dark. Let's brighten that up. I have a slider here, and then I'll figure it out later. There we go. A little bit of brightness and a little bit of gamma. Okay. So when I grab this camera, this is a full-featured camera. It's the FX2. If you don't have a camera and you're planning on buying a camera, then the FX2 is where I think you should easily target this camera. And it's actually cheaper than the new A7 Mark V. So we are running in a very nice way. So I can easily grab this one. Now on this camera, I have the 14 millimeter f4.0, which is a new lens to me from Viltrox. And you open this up here, and it's actually a touch wider than the 11 millimeter, which half of 11 is 5.5, not 6.5. So if I actually know how to, do my math, then I know, 11 millimeter, when you crop it, it's going to wind up being 5.5 plus 11 is 16.5. This is 14 millimeters. So I can put the 11 millimeter on here also. So I'm enjoying slapping up some pictures or videos on Patreon. I've done 2 this week or the last few days. Both times I used the A7CR. It's just such an easy camera, and it's small, and it's 61 megapixels. What's 61 megapixels doing in here? So if you noticed, the lenses, small, okay, and then the ones that I have on my desk, they seem to be all made in the same cylinder. They're all small, and that is the key thing to a camera being very usable. So if you are going to, let's say you're going to do photos and video. You're not one of those guys that says, I only do photos or I only do video. So in that case, there's specific cameras that are aimed and targeted for that type of thinking. Also, what you're going to do with the camera. Are you going to go out like I go on Saturday nights to my brother's house? Okay. And that dictates a little bit different equipment that you would take. If you're going to take them out, like Sammy goes out, our Sammy, he goes out on, I don't remember, I think it's Saturdays or Sundays, and they go to a little Greek restaurant and they get their food and stuff. Well, you're not going to take a big lens and a big camera and 2 lenses and stuff like that. You basically want something slim. So if your target is you're going to be around family a lot, that camera that Randy put in here a while back for me to use for 3 or 4 weeks, which was the Leica Q3, and that was quite an experience. That was a lovely experience. So I put some cloves in my smoothie because I read that it's very good for older people. Now, I can't tell you why. Okay. Let me figure out. Oh, we got Roy in here. We got Sammy in here. And we got Sammy in here twice. And Sammy says the FX2 is a winner chicken dinner. Yeah, it is. So I think Friday, which is the day after tomorrow, God willing, and the bridge isn't up, I need to get up. I need to figure out what's going on with the ZR, because the ZR has given me 0 to no troubles. And now all of a sudden, it has decided to be dark. Okay. And I just boosted it up. I turned off the boost. I'm going to see if I accidentally bumped the ISO on it. So I am connected to an XLR cable. Okay. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to move it up to ISO 250. And then I'm going to find that stupid joystick and say, okay. Now let me see if that fixed whatever the heck is going on. Because I know the ISO over there is supposed to be 250. and it got moved down, and it doesn't belong. Okay, so now let's turn that camera on and see if I fixed it, and then I won't have to wonder all night long what's going on. So, where is the Nikon? There it is. Okay, that's better. All right, so that's straight out of the camera. I don't know why, but I'm exceptionally thirsty. So Sammy's in here, and he says, hi, everybody. And Roy is here, and he's going, here we go. And that sounded a little bit like Johnny Carson, didn't it? And then Sammy's in here. Winner, winner, chicken dinner for the FX2. Yeah, this is... How can I claim every camera as being the best camera you could buy? It just don't fit. Okay. Now, Sammy's not going to be happy unless I mention LumiLut, so I'm going to tell you LumiLut is actually what is correcting and dealing with the Olympus, where you can put a LUT for your log files, but you can also do a correction LUT. So I have done a correction LUT here because I did everything I could possibly do to get the camera to do exactly what I wanted to do. I'm a believer in straight out of camera styling, okay? Meaning I'm not going to correct it in this program and in that program and in that program, or do this or that, okay? So I could not get it straight out of camera. So that is one of the biggest powers of LumiLut. LumiLut is something you can buy right now. It's actually live. I sound like a commercial, but it's only because I love Sammy and I want to see him succeed. So when you have a hard time tuning in a camera, you know, Scotty, I don't know if I haven't seen you comment, so you might not be on tonight, but you'll watch it on the rewind. I would like either a picture or like a 5-second clip from the R6. And I want you to include some of the blue lighting that offends you. Okay? Doesn't have to be fancy, but be thoughtful. And I'm going to try to correct it in LumiLut and send you a LUT back that you could try. So, or you could just download LumiLut. It's on the whatchamacallit, the Apple app. If you're running Apple, are you running Apple over there? I don't remember which computer system you're running. So if you're running Apple, you can get from the Apple store. It does cost money, $25. I paid for mine, so it's not because I'm running things free over here. But Sammy did offer it to me. But anyway, I'd like to see if the LumiLut is going to pull out the violet, if I can do that. You do your own adjustment. There's no automatic button in LumiLut, okay? You actually get in there. And the way you work with LumiLut is there's scopes on the left side, and you want to put it on, I forgot what the name of it is, waves. I think it's the waves, okay? And at the top, you have 100, which is pure brightness. And at the bottom, you have a 0, which is pure black. Okay. Now, if you are working with a log file, you have to expand it because it's going to come in all crushed. Okay. So you don't start with the exposure slider. You start with the 3 sliders that are highlights, midtones, and shadows. And you move them and balance it out until you get this squished file to open up and decompress. See how I'm decompressed? The more I decompress, the more you can see my face. Okay? So you don't start with the exposure. You're not changing the exposure right off the bat. What you do is you decompress the log file. All right? And after you decompress the log file and you've got it balanced correctly, which is a skill. If you don't have that skill, then you got to start looking up some videos how to work with scopes, especially the waveform. Okay, and because that's why Lumilut is divided into 3 panels. The one panel is the scope, because that's your instrumentation. You know, when you fly a plane, you fly it with instruments. You don't look out the window and say, oh, anything out there in front of me? Am I going to crash into somebody? No, you look at your instrumentation. So your instrumentation for your log files is the scope, and that's in the panel on the left inside of this program or app called Lumilut. Okay. The middle one is where you see what you're doing. You actually see the results. And then the panel on the right, which is the third panel, that's where you adjust things as you go along. Now, once you get your log file decompressed, then you can start to give it a look. You want a generic look. You want a 709, meaning a standard profile, or do you want it to go more towards something where you're going to get very highly creative? And that's what we are. We are creative human beings. Okay. So, I see Jamie came in. Hi, Jamie, Uncle Peter. Get an Alexa LF35 or red on You'll Never Need Another Camera. Oh, but I can't do that, Jamie. I have to buy new cameras. It's kind of like sex. You do it one time, you got to do it more and more. Okay. So you don't buy one camera and that's it. Okay. You got to do it over and over and over. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. What you been doing? Do I have to come out there and find you? You're not too big to put over my knee. Eh? That's my dad used to say. I don't know why I feel so thirsty tonight. I made a little bit extra of my Randall Roy coffee blend. And I'm glad because I feel so stinking thirsty. You can hear the ice cubes running around. Did I put my mic up. So the FX2, which is the title of the show tonight, okay, is actually it's more than a happy medium. It actually is near the top of everything that you can, you can do, cameras you could buy. So we got the new A7 Mark V, okay, which is a great camera. Do I have any reason for you not to buy it? No. It's actually surfacing. I see other YouTubers going like, "Oh, what a wonderful camera this is." And like, "Where were you? I had the camera already in here for 3 weeks and I've been saying how great that camera is." And now monkey see, monkey do. They see me doing videos and they all want to do videos. So Jamie says, "I've been in the back of the classroom taking notes." Oh, tell me what that's about. Are you taking classes in college or what you doing, Jamie? I don't know that much about you, but doesn't seem like there's a lot of people in here tonight. So you could share what you've been doing. What are you doing? What are you taking classes? What kind of classes are you taking, James? All righty. So that is, um, I don't actually say, does anybody have any questions that often? But if you do, you don't need permission around here to make a question. So let me turn on the overhead camera. I have it here. I promise. Oh, did I turn it on? Egg on my face? Yes or no? Ah, beautiful. Okay. All right. So this is the FX2. How do you know that? Right here, it says FX2. There, I'm not lying to you, okay? And they actually have labeled it as a cinema line camera. Well, they're wrong, okay? What they have done is they have taken both sides of this camera, which would be the movie camera and the still camera, and both sides are developed equally strong. It's not a cinema camera. That is where the mistake was made in the marketing department. This camera is one of the best all-around cameras, because until they came out with the Sony A7 Mark V with the new chip that draws a lot lower power, and therefore it does not overheat very easily, okay? I've yet to see a video up there that says, oh, my A7 Mark V has overheated. Now, I know Randy has one of those cameras, the A7 Mark V. I'm pretty sure he has one, okay, because I know he's very much into Sony, all right? And Texas and Miami is going to start getting into some really, really hot weather. Now, I don't own that camera, and I had to send it back because B&H gave it to me as a loaner, okay? But I do own the FX2. So the FX2 would be one step above an A7 Mark IV. Okay, so the A7 Mark IV has some of the good features in it. It actually, I accidentally said it didn't have a full-size HDMI, and people caught that and they corrected it in the comments, and I'm grateful for that. Okay, but we do have a full-size HDMI on this one. There it is. It's got its own little hatch. Okay, but it also has a fan, so it covers your bases everywhere. But then when you go over to the video side, you still get to use the fan. You still get to use it accepts it's got 2 card slots, but one of them accepts 2 different sizes. Okay, and it's got advanced video features. Now, it says on here Cinema Line, and yet one of the features that they have actually left out is the skin smoothing, which is, to me, a no-no. It's like a crazy leave out. There's no reason for them to have left it out. So if you wanted to take this camera, flip out the screen, and start vlogging, you're not going to, unless you know how to do it, okay, you're not going to actually get smooth skin like I'm getting now, all right? So believe it or not, this Nikon ZR, which has got the red technology, okay, so you can't say that that's not a camera that's targeted and aimed for cinema work, but it does great for pictures also. So the cameras that are coming out are much more balanced for the general audience. Now, when they come out with the FX3 Mark II, that camera is definitely, without question, targeted for cinema work. It basically has a 12 megapixel sensor, which knocks out your photography. So with photography, like I started to say earlier in this show tonight, and I got sidetracked, is the camera that you choose is very highly dependent on what you're going to do with it. Okay, so if it's going to be a family camera, and when I say family camera, I'm not saying only restricted to family pictures. I mean, think of a family atmosphere. That family atmosphere is more intimate, could be in a house, could be in a restaurant. It's a smaller environment than going to a grand ballroom, okay? So if you were going to go to a grand ballroom, or you were going to go to a stadium, and you were going to take pictures of somebody that you knew, like Woody has grandchildren that do football and soccer, and I don't even remember everything that the grandchildren do. All right. That camera, you would bring a few extra lenses with you, and they would be pretty large size lenses. I don't even have a large lens on my table here. Okay. But it would be like a 70 to 180. What is that? A 2.8. I think Randy has that, and I have that. And now, if I was going to your house for dinner and we were going to chit chat, and let's say you have a daughter or a son and they have a baby, okay, you don't want to come in with a pouch full of lenses. Okay, you could bring your camera bag, but it should be on the smaller side. But you could reverse and flip the entire photographic theme if you're going to be doing family pictures in a more intimate stage, by, instead of taking a camera like this, and this camera is actually a little bit better than you think, okay, but you take a camera like the A7CR, where they packed it with a 61 megapixel sensor, and you start using it like if you had that high-end Leica Q3. So the Leica Q3, it kind of goes against the grain of everything we've been taught, because the lens is built onto the camera. It's a $7,000 camera, and you cannot change the lenses. It's built into the camera. So how did they deal with that? They put a 60 megapixel sensor, probably a Sony sensor. I'm not saying it is. I'm guessing, okay? And what they did is they built it into the camera, so you have a button back here, and every time you push the button, it changes it to another millimeter. So you start off with 28 millimeters, 1.7. All right. You push the button and you go from 28 millimeters, you go to 35 millimeters. You push it again, and you're going to go to 50 millimeters. Now you're in your family setting. You didn't have to change lenses, okay? You don't have to worry about, I don't know what kind of family you got. Some families, you got to be careful of your stuff. It could disappear. Other families, they're protective of your stuff. Peter, oh, you left your camera on the piano in the living room, okay? Now that's my family. They'll tell me where I left the camera. But when I go to my brother's house, there's a lot of the kids are there, okay, but my stuff never gets touched. So I can bring another lens. Now, the other lens that I would bring would be the 40 millimeter. I don't think I have that particular one here. All the lenses, yes, I don't. Okay, I almost thought I did. All right. So I would bring the 40 millimeter, and I would bring the Viltrox 14 millimeter, or one of the wider ones from Sony, the 11 millimeter or the 10 millimeter. Okay. And if I use the A7CR in the family setting, I'm going to use it like a Leica. Okay. So my eyes got opened up to that style of photography when Randy loaned me his Leica Q3, because when I first saw that camera came out, and it's like, oh, 60 megapixels, how wonderful, but no interchangeable lenses, how not wonderful. That doesn't fit in my mind. All these years, you change lenses, buddy, okay? You need to have the lens that is designed for that application. And then Leica comes along and says, oh, we're going to put the mother of all sensors in here, 60 megapixels, and that's what we got in here. This one's, they call it 61. Leica calls it 60, but when you're doing pictures, it starts with the same size. Now you figure that one out, okay? It's kind of like a joke. They're both 9520 by 6336. All right. One camera says it's 60 megapixels. One camera says it's 61 megapixels. Doesn't matter. They both operate the same way. All right. Now, the unique thing is, I love that Leica. There's just something about a Leica like Randy likes to say, you got a Leica, you're the Leica, you know. So it's just built so you could tell they're all into it. It just feels that way, okay? Plus, the way they designed it is that everything that you need pertaining to your light is all on the outside of the camera in the form of a button, except for one thing, which is the ISO, and even that starts with a button in the upper right-hand corner of the camera, okay? You press that button, all right? Now, you don't have access to change the ISO on any kind of buttons or knobs or anything, but when you press that particular button, it's this top right one over here on the Q3, not on this camera, okay? This camera works different, and it works fine. I can work either system. They're both very convenient, okay? So on this camera, you don't have a button for your shutter speed. You don't have a button or a thing for your apertures, okay? Oh, I'm getting a call. So that's one of my friends. They don't know that I am live and on the air. So I'll just say hello, and I'll just now he can hear me. All right, so I'm going to say it to everybody. I'm live and on the air. So if it's important, text me, okay? So I can't talk now. I'm talking to millions of people around the world. All right, guys. All right, so back to this camera. All right. All the things that you could touch on this camera pertaining to the light is designed, instead of being with buttons, okay, where am I? Over here. I got a little sidetracked with the phone call. Instead of with buttons, they took a different approach. I think Canon was the first one to do it this way. And believe me, I love it. On the top, you have a dial, and one of the choices on the dial is FV, you know. So what you do is you put it in FV mode, and your LCD becomes everything pertaining to your lighting is across the bottom. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. Now, Sony doesn't even ask. Okay. When I turn the camera on, okay, automatically everything is across the bottom of the touch screen down here. So I have my shutter, I tap on it. I have my my aperture, I tap on it. I have my ISO, I tap on it. I have my white balance, I tap on it, which is not on the Q3 from Leica. So they got a little extra here. And you've got your compensation, meaning if you want to go +1 or -1, and all you do is tap it, and you're in. Okay? Now, that replaces buttons, all right? And I like the button way, but I'm not going to say I don't like this, because I really, really do. The convenience of just tapping right here. Now, I'm in P mode, so I can't change anything. But if I moved it over to, let's say, M mode, now they're all hot. If I tap on the ISO, I get to pick my ISO now. Okay, I push the center button, cancel it. If I pick the f-stop, now I can move the f-stop. Okay, so you have the convenience of all your lighting across the bottom. Now, this is not the only camera that does that. If I actually turn on the FX2, you do the same thing. Okay, so I know that Sammy has an FX30, and okay, so let's see if I turn this on. Yep, they're all across the bottom again. So everything that I need to deal with on the FX2 is completely across the bottom, which means it's going to be on the A7 Mark V. Same thing, okay? I'm hoping, and I haven't had the FX3 in here for a long time because I do not own that camera. I'm hoping that happens more and more, because that becomes one of the key ways to very, very quickly control your cameras. All right. So it's A7C or FX2. How are you going to pick which one if that's the area or direction you want to go? Okay. So the way you would pick it is like I said, if it's mostly going to be intimate photography, you don't want to carry around a bunch of lenses. You want to get a small lens that you can put in your pocket, like a 40 millimeter f2.5. This will fit in your pocket. Yeah, your pocket's going to look like you're a little bit excited, but it's over on the right side. So people will, what the hell's in your pocket? Okay, it's a lens. Okay. Or you bring a little camera pouch or a sling you can put over your shoulder or something. And if your style is intimate photography, then you go the route with a camera that packs a punch with the megapixels, because you don't have to swap a lot of lenses. Now let's just go right for the elephant in the room. All right. So I know one number I need to keep in mind. Okay. One number I need to keep in mind, and that is 3300. So what does that represent? That represents that no matter what camera I start with, okay, if I use an FX2, if I use an FX30, if I use an A7 Mark V, okay, I know that I can crop into 3200, all right, and that will give me almost a 7 megapixel equivalent camera. And when I was shooting years ago with the 20D, that was an 8 megapixel. And so that tells me by experience, not by somebody getting on YouTube and shouting it out, okay? And that tells me that I can go down to 3300 on the widest side of a picture, all right? And I'm at 7 megapixels. Now, your top is the top number that you can go, or the highest number you can go, is how many megapixels is in the camera. So from that 3700 by 2136, which will give me a beautiful, high quality 8x10 physical print. Now, how many of you have printed anything this year even? Okay. We are in May now. Happy May. Most of us don't print very often. We share things online on social media. We make slideshows. We put them up on YouTube. Okay. Or we send people the files and they take them to Walgreens and print out. So as long as you're higher than 3200 on the widest side, you can print comfortably up to an 8x10. And I have done it up to 16x20. But I know some things to do that will make the picture look better. Now, the other side is, how high does it start? Where does it start? This camera is going to start at 9520 by 6336. So I've got a heck of a lot of room to crop all the way down to 3200 from 9500. Okay? Which means with this camera, with a 24 millimeter lens, and I do have that one here, I think. Okay, so this is a 24 millimeter lens. Okay, it's about the same size as this 11 millimeter lens. Or, yeah, that's the 11 millimeter. So you see how if I have this lens and this lens in my pocket, how I can cover all the way up to 150 millimeters, because I'm starting at 60 megapixels. So you go, well, Peter, I'm not going to go out and just buy brand new cameras. Okay, here's how you work whatever camera you've got. Okay, find out what the resolution is for a full-size picture. This is not videos, okay? This is pertaining to pictures, because videos all come down to 4K if you're shooting 4K, all come down to 1080 if you're shooting 1080, okay? these numbers don't matter. But if you're shooting with a picture, these numbers do matter. All right. So the smallest one that you want to go to is 3300, I'm sorry, and that will give you a 7 megapixel capacity. You don't have to crop it down that tight. You could crop it anywhere in the middle. It's all in your ballpark, okay? Where it is your cap is how big you're starting. So with the FX2, you're starting with actually a very comfortable sensor. You're starting with a 33 megapixel sensor. All right. So a 33 megapixel sensor is going to be somewhere in the 6,500 pixels on the wide side, whether if it's this way, okay, across this way for the picture. If you turn the camera this way, it would be that way. All right. So if you use 3300 as your minimum, and that's what I use personally, I will go 3300. I will go to 3250 if I have to, if it's a critical shot. And I know it's not getting printed out. I haven't printed any 8x10s in 2026 at all. I haven't printed anything. Okay. But my niece keeps printing out 4x6 books, and she's got this book and this book and this book and this book. Okay, so she's got a lot of books. She likes prints. My nephew and my other niece, they share online, Facebook. Yeah, oh, look at what I took. Look at what I took. Okay, and then me, I make slideshows. Randy makes slideshows. So this business, like, oh, you can't crop, is only a mental mindset from many years ago that has actually settled into our hearts. And it's still in my heart. That's why it was so difficult when the Q3 came here. If it wasn't for the fact that I like the camera so much, I wouldn't have applied myself that hard. The big surprise is when I did start to apply myself, I actually started to enjoy it. Okay. So I'm not skipping. I'll come through all of these, but I just happened to see what Norm just put. All right. So here is a unique circumstance. He shoots for printed magazines. Now, if you shoot for a printed magazine, they usually come with a minimum requirement. And he's saying they need 300 dot DPI resolutions that can print 11 by 17 for a double page spread. Now, usually they won't say it as 11 by 17. They'll give you these numbers. We need 300 DPI, and the minimum we will accept is 2664 by 3776. That would be a 21 megapixel sensor. Okay, so whatever camera that Norm is actually shooting with is apparently acceptable for his magazine, and you should drop in here what your megapixels are that you're shooting to meet the requirements for the magazine, Norm. So I know you are involved with the magazine, especially for RVs, okay? What megapixel is your camera, all right? And the magazine finds that acceptable. Because there's two ways to deal with that. The megapixels that comes out of your camera, or you up-res it using something like QImage or a program that's designed to what they call step upsizing. They don't upsize it from this size to that size in one step, okay? The quality won't be that great. But if you upsize it following a formula that's called step upsizing, that means you start with this size and you enlarge it to that size. Then you take that enlargement and enlarge it to that size. Then you take that one, enlarge it to that size. Take that one, and there's software that will do that for you, okay? They will do that step for you. It's a lot easier just to have the right size to begin with, Okay, that's why with Norm, I'm kind of curious. Let's see if he answered my question. Um, images for the magazines. Images for the magazines have been used since the early 2000s with more 4 megapixel sensors. They're not around anymore. Good lenses working well. Cameras with 6 megapixel sensors produce printed images similar to film quality. Okay, now that is something that I have been saying with my 20D, which was 8 megapixels. I was running weddings. I was running portraits. I was making wall images, 16 by 20, from that 8 megapixel, what do you call it, 20D camera. What are you using today, Norm? That's what I would like to know, because I'm sure you're not using the minimum and then upsizing. My guess is you're very smart with cameras. You have settled into a camera that you and the magazine that is taking your pictures are happy with. So what camera are you using? And better yet, tell me what the megapixels is, because if you tell me what camera you're using, I'll have to look it up. I don't know what all these cameras have. Okay. All right. So 20 megapixels or higher, and Norm would be happy. Okay. Uh, So what did he say? Today, the 20 megapixel sensors can print enlargements, 24 by 36. All right, that I agree with, but I'm looking for certain information. We use Pentax, Canon, Nikon systems over the years, never up-res the file. Okay, so it sounds like if I read between the lines, Norm needs to use a camera that's 20 megapixels or higher. So these new, medium new, okay, because the newest ones are up, like this guy is up to 33 megapixels, and it's a Sony. The Nikon ZR, Randy, what is it? I think the Nikon ZR is 24 megapixels. Okay, so all of the newer cameras are actually slotting in, which would make it easy for Norm to use. So I know that Norm likes the Nikons. He leans towards that camera, but he's able to shoot with whatever it is that he just said. Anything that's got, a 20 megapixel or larger uh, sensor resolution, I should say. The sensor stays the same. They put more resolution into these sensors. All right, would be fine for the prints. Now, you and I, we're not printing for magazines. Honestly, we're either making pictures for sale. All right. And if you are, you know what you're comfortable with for your megapixels. Now, without getting into a high-priced camera, these cameras like the FX2 and the A7 Mark V and the new Canon R6 Mark III, they're running at 33 megapixels. So you could actually do a little bit of that Leica methodology and crop. You have less ability to crop, but not as little as, let's say, a 24 megapixel. So the Nikon Z6 Mark III, I believe, is a 24 megapixel camera, and I believe the ZR, which we'll get around to in a minute, is a what size is that? 24 megapixel. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is the FX2, for people that are not married or have this deep-seated love for a particular system, the FX2 is one of the best cameras that they could buy if you include the price. Okay, and even a little bit better than this, but I'm not super happy recommending it over the FX2, would be the new Nikon ZR. Okay. Now we're all talking about a $2,000 to $3,000 price range. So the Nikon ZR is at the bottom. Now we're talking about a 10-year-old camera here. okay, that we're looking at right now. You can see from the label in the upper right-hand corner. And this guy is swimming with all these brand new cameras. Nikon ZR with the red technology is in my mix here. The A7C Mark II is also in my mix. So the A7C Mark II is basically a Sony the Mark III, the A7 Mark III. Okay. I don't think the A7, well, no, it's got a 33 megapixel sensor in there. So it's even better than that. It would be maybe like a Mark IV. Okay. So that becomes very interesting, where it's hard to find a bad camera. You'd say, people ask, what's the best camera? And I would respond and say, can you tell me what's the worst camera? You can't. You'd have to go back quite a few years to find a bad camera. Okay. So I know I'm speaking to people that I've been talking to for many years here. We all know each other. We know how we think and we know how we operate. So what am I bringing to the table that's new, that would be against what all of us, including myself, would normally do? I'm telling you to take a look at, I'm not saying to buy a new camera. We're just talking. We're doing a show. I have to talk about something, okay? You buy an A7CR, and I have it in hand, so this is not theory. And I'm pretty good with theory because I've played with so many cameras from the 70s, 80s, 90s, the 2000s when the digital started hitting the market. Now we're in 2026. I don't know how many more years I'm going to go. Okay. So what? In 10 years I'll be in my 80s. Can you tell me what we're going to be shooting with? I have no idea. Hello, how are you doing? I want to show you this 200 megapixel camera. It's wonderful. Oh, I know you only shoot pictures and it won't do very good for video. Okay, who knows what's going to come in 10 years? Today I was flabbergasted. I'm thinking, I'm on the topic, but I'm just changing the object of what I'm talking about for a minute. Humor me. You know me. You've been with me, many of you guys, 100 years. All right. I like the Tesla. Not because it's a good-looking car, not because it's technologically advanced. I think they've lost their way. They forgot they're a car company, and their innovations have fallen flat on their face. Okay? However, what I'm looking at in the Tesla is it is the only car that will allow me to sit in it in my driveway or in the garage and say, take me to Home Depot. And then on the screen, it'll say, there's 4 locations. Which one would you like to go to? And I would say, this one, number 2. The car will put itself in reverse. It'll drive itself out of the garage. It'll close the garage door. Okay? It'll get onto the street, and it'll drive me, without me touching anything, to the Home Depot. All right? Now, I want to pick on older people because of my age, 72, but there's other restrictions that could come into play. Some people could have a hard time seeing. Some people can have a hard time seeing at night. Some people can get very nervous when they're driving, which I'm one of the people. As much as I grew up as a driver. I used to go out at night just to relax and drive for like a half hour, 45 minutes. Randy goes out and drives into who knows where, records everything. And I get to watch it on his channel. If you haven't seen it, go over and watch it, okay? So the fact that the Tesla excels and is the only car that you can actually have what they call, and there is a term for it, it's called point-to-point driving, okay? Meaning it'll take you from point A to point B, and you don't have to interfere unless an emergency situation arises. So the car does not allow you to fall asleep while it takes you to Home Depot or Lowe's or Publix or wherever the heck you want to go, to the UPS store, okay? It'll just take you there. And it's gotten so good, it will ask you, do you want to do parking at the front? Do you want me to find a parking space and park it in? Do you want me to park in backwards, or do you want me to park in forwards? This is quite an achievement, okay? And the only company that I have seen to date that is actually testing the waters and doing a good job, okay? I'm not talking about lane keeping on the highway. I very rarely get on the highway, okay? So you got blue something from Ford, you've got something from General Motors, that if you're going to take a trip, like Jim Mundy takes trips, and he goes all the way to another city. I think he goes to Charlotte a lot from wherever he is, okay? It'll keep you in the lane on the highway. Well, my brother's Buick does that now. He pushes a button, and it keeps the lane. And if the car in front of him slows down, it slows down. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the car adding, like the Tesla has 9 eyes. Okay, I have 2. The Tesla's computer is, I don't know how much faster than a human brain, and it's a large computer. So it makes it a safer driving experience for me, and it will matter for me as I get older, because I'm thinking that as I get older, things will start to get more restrictive, and I would like to have my freedom, okay? Now, what I saw today that just knocked my socks off is I'm thinking, who's going to match Tesla? Because if I had a choice, I don't want to reward Tesla by buying their car. And the reason is they seem to have given up on their public. They are the one of the largest, if not the largest, selling individual model in the world. It flips between a Toyota model and a Tesla model. One month this one's got the lead, the next month the other got the lead. But their innovation in terms of what they're giving to the customer has really dropped, where the other companies are very advanced. So there's one of the top YouTubers in the YouTube world that deals with electric cars is called Out of Specs, okay? And he showed today, it became live today. And it's a system, Chinese, all right? But it's not a car company, it's a system. And it actually does better than the Tesla FSD driving experience, which I thought was absolutely impossible to do. I thought I have no choice but to purchase a Tesla. So it's called Momentum, but not Momentum. I think it's Momenta, okay? But if you look at Out of Specs review, something that was today, and it said, wait, that's the title. There's something better than Tesla's FSD? And the answer is yes. So he drove this car in China, and it's a new Volkswagen. Okay? So this system was put into a Volkswagen, and that Volkswagen is being released this week sometime. Okay? But not here in the USA. Sometimes we get leftovers here. All right? And it drove. In China, they got a lot of people on motor scooters, like a bike that's motorized, okay? And I was glued to the screen at how good the driving did. And this guy, his name is Kyle Connors. It's very hard to impress him. I mean, he is very deeply involved in the electric vehicles, and then also in their features. It is such a developed field that unless a person is actually experiencing it and staying up to date, they're just basically, what do they call it when you got your opinion and you're not involved? Armchair quarterbacking. Okay. It'll be something like, I don't like it because I don't think this is safe because, well, there's no research behind. Okay. Only things that were in the headlines. All right. So the interesting thing about this is this company is not a car company. So you could see this system on a Mercedes-Benz. Okay. They've already tied together where Volkswagen is actually using the system. Very interesting. Now, Volkswagen owns 20-something% of Rivian. So now all of a sudden it looks like I might actually, by the time I'm ready to make a purchase, you know how my finances are. You guys have been with me so long. Okay. By the time I'm ready to make a purchase, I might have more than one choice to choose from. Okay. So that makes things a little bit on the exciting side for me. Now you come over to cameras. The Leica Q3, where did they get their sensor? Is it a coincidence that it seems to be identical to the sensor in the A7CR? And now they have, Sony is going to be announcing, what's today's date? Today is the 6th. I can't read it. May 6th, okay? So on the 14th, I believe, I think it's next, not this week, but next Tuesday or Wednesday, Sony is going to be announcing the A7 A7 3R? No, A7 something Mark 6. And it's going to have a 67 megapixel sensor in it. So you know darn well that is going to trickle down if they make an A7CR Mark II. Okay. And if Leica comes up with a 65 megapixel camera for the Q3 Mark II, you know where they got it from. Okay. I don't know who they're trying to fool, but they're just changing the labeling. All right. So it's an exciting time. There's so many things that are happening all at the same time. So let's get back to the important people here, which is not me. So I did, where was it? James is in the classroom, so I guess he's in school. Roy says, I'm here for the therapy, not the questions. I know the feeling. I enjoy getting together with you guys. Monday and Tuesday weren't the happiest days. And then today I was feeling a lot better because tonight, which is now, I'm going to get to see all you guys. By the way, how you doing, Roy? I hope everything's good. Tell Stella I said hi. Oh, Randy's here. Good. A7 Mark V and the ZR will be tested for overheating. So that's stuff that Randy's going to do. If you haven't seen his channel, it's Randall Brander, the blue line there on top of the comment. That's the name of the channel. So you go to YouTube and type in the @ Randall Brander, and you should find Randy's videos. And while you're over there, subscribe. So Roy is saying, does the Leica change focal length or field of view? I would say it's the field of view because they're cropping. Okay. Scotty, I was talking to you a little while ago. How you doing? I hope everything is well. Oh, Norm. Don't do that to me, Norm. I'm going to wake up tomorrow thinking it's Saturday, and I'll be all screwed up. It will be Thursday tomorrow morning. To everybody that's in here, it's going to be Thursday tomorrow morning. For me, it will be garbage day. Okay? And Friday will be trash day because it's the second Friday of the month. So you guys that actually have garbage day for tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow morning, remember to put your cans out onto the street. Okay. Printing is much more forgiving than clients. That's Roy. And I did this because I saw that. He needs 300 dpi, which is the dots per inch resolution, but it really is lines per inch. And it has to be at 11 by 17. So I did these. So Roy says, clients don't want you to upsize. They want to do it themselves. And Norm says, today the 20 megapixel sensors and higher can print enlargements 24 by 36. That I can vouch for. Firsthand, which camera? Hi! I can vouch for he's absolutely correct. Sammy says, I'm testing out a film camera later this week. That should be interesting. See how diverse we are? One guy goes one direction. I could use 850, but it's overkill for the print publication. So somebody just bought a lens from me, Norm, and he picked it up, and it's a 24 millimeter 1.4 Nikkor G, whatever their $2,000 lens was back then. And he brought the 850 here, and I got to play with it a little bit. What a nice camera. And he saw the, I have the 70 to 200 original one, VR 2.8, big lens. It's right here. He saw it, and he says, you know, I might buy that from you. That's an amazing looking lens. And you know what? This lens, first of all, looks like brand new. I baby my equipment like you wouldn't believe, okay? So there's no wear down on the dials. You know, as these things wear down, these rubber grips where you can actually put a mechanical, where you can rotate with the dial and everything. It's got the VR, it's got the foot, it's got the hood, it's got both. This is gorgeous. It doesn't go on a mirrorless camera. I'd have to use the FTZ adapter. So let's put this back here so it's nice and safe. And so if he gets the hankering in a week or two, the guy with the D850, he might send me a message. Hey, I want to buy it. Is that lens still available? I want to buy it. And I'll have a buyer. Norm says, I've outgrown gear acquisition syndrome. I use a Panasonic ACAG 160 ENG video camera, as well as the DSLR systems. It's such a wide variety of what we have available to use nowadays. All cameras have strengths and weaknesses. The trick is to know how to milk the best out of each one. And you do have to know that. Roy is right smack on the dot. Okay? Best camera is the one you have with you. Learn to expose properly to keep gear in top shape. Bingo! And use the best aperture for the assignment. And not only aperture, you also have to be cognizant. You've got to be aware, keenly aware of your shutter speeds. So one of the Saturday nights that I went to my brother's house, there's the new baby, okay, less than 6 months old. And so I put it on P, and I did not adjust the camera, because some cameras, you can tell it, okay, at a certain shutter speed. Don't go lower. Instead, start to raise the ISO. And because this camera is so new, I didn't do that. So I was shooting at 1/30th of a second with a baby, okay? So a baby doesn't go like, oh my, like Jack Benny. A baby is like this. So I have so many blurred shots. So now I put the minimum shutter speed on this guy to 1/80th of a second. And I happily put it in P mode and let the camera take care of everything. When it gets darker and it wants to go to a lower shutter speed, okay, it'll start bumping up the shutter speed, the ISO, instead of lowering the shutter. And most of you guys, I know what a lot of you guys have, you have that ability in your camera. You want to know something, Sammy? It's going to feel like your FX30. That's what it's going to feel like. And you're going to go like, oh, it's full frame. Oh, it's 33 megapixels. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, I have to have this camera. That's before you even take a picture. Okay, it's fully developed on the video side. The only weakness would be a weakness that you choose for it to have, and that would be for it to actually it crops in 60p. So the only one of the newer cameras is the A7 Mark V, and what they do is they give you two 60p's. Okay, everybody was bitching and moaning, oh, it crops at 60p. Okay, well, we're going to give you two. One is the regular one, and for you guys that are like anal and it's like, it's got to be perfect, they even have a high quality mode for 60p that is a step better even than the standard one. Okay, and that actually takes the camera and puts it into a crop mode, but it's a crop mode similar to what we had years ago from Canon, where they weren't either full frame, but they weren't a 1.6 crop, it was a 1.3 crop. So on the new A7 Mark V, you could choose just normal, okay, 60p, just like you would expect in any other camera, or you want a high quality mode of 60p, and then you will get a crop of 1.3, okay, 1.3x. So Sammy, you're going to actually enjoy the FX2. Buying Genies is EV risky. If they go out of business, it could brick your car. Sammy says, I'm preparing for a project soon. If I want a B camera, should I use my FX30 as my main? And wait a minute. Should I use my FX30 and main as a FX2? Okay. You're not going to like my answer, not because you're not going to like it, because I'm going to say something negative, but I'm going to say something that you and most people that are watching now are not going to expect me to say. Wherever you feel you can get the best picture, where you look at your pictures and you go like, dang, that's a nice picture, that's your main camera. Even if it's a Kodak from 1922. Now, it won't be. I'm being facetious, okay? But what I'm saying, sometimes you will get a picture or a video that you just think is freaking gorgeous. That's going to be your main camera. And then maybe your better camera would become your B-roll. Now, most people will say, well, no, you get the FX3. That is what, oh, ooh la la, it is on nothing better. No, whatever gives you the picture that turns you on, okay, that becomes your A-roll, okay? And then whatever the other camera is, it becomes your B-roll. So I just went through that experience. Randy and I are playing with this 14 millimeter. Where is it? Okay, it's on this camera. It's on the FX2. Okay, this is a 14 millimeter full frame f4 lens. And we both came to the same conclusion. What a great lens, but the f4 makes it a little bit restrictive if you get into low light. So on either on the Patreon channel, or I even put it on here, but I think it's on the Patreon channel. Okay, I did the same camera, and I don't remember if I did it on the FX2 or if I did it on the A7CR. And one of them, I did it with the 14 millimeter full frame f4. I went out at 2 in the morning, okay? And the first lens I did was the 14 millimeter f4, and I'm going like, remember what I just said, Sammy? And everybody? Whatever camera gives you that image that you just, oh my God, it's so gorgeous. All right. Well, I got an image that was, oh my God, it's not that gorgeous. So then I tried it with the 11 millimeter Sony 1.8 crop sensor lens. And both Randy and I and anybody who has seen that video, this would be the right lens to use. That the picture was gorgeous. I liked it. It turned me on. Okay. So you use what's actually going to look great instead of picking it out because it what do they call it when you brag? It's bragging rights or something like that. Okay. So Sammy's in the finals now for his college. I'm preparing for a project soon. If I want a B camera, should I use my FX30 or main as an FX2? I think I just went through that. Whatever gives you the picture that is like you just know in your heart, it's the better picture. So if the FX30 does that, even though you have a big fantastic FX2, you use the FX30. If it's in the reverse, if the FX2 gives you that better picture, you know how we talk, the picture that actually gets you hot, okay, then you use the FX2. Just as important as the sensor is the image processor chips. Boy, that's a mouthful right there. And Roy is going, coffee fixes everything. And Corey's here. Corey, I don't remember seeing you in here. If I don't remember seeing you, it's my fault. My apologies. Okay. But if you're new, welcome, buddy. Thanks for coming in. I do these shows Wednesday and Friday. Wednesday is optional because if I just don't feel like doing Wednesday like tonight, but I like getting together with, well, you know, in the old days we used to call it getting together with the boys. We'd play cards, eat potato chips, and other things that you're not allowed to have, and you play cards, okay? So this is the equivalent of that. The FX2 is a very underrated camera, 100%, and the reason is because of Sony themselves basically kicked the camera in the balls. Okay? I didn't even have to pick it up, okay? And that's because they said it's a cinema line. Now, it very well could be a cinema line. I'm not going to argue that. But that takes the camera and it cuts it in half and throws away half the camera. I take some of the most beautiful pictures with this camera. And this guy's got this amazing viewfinder where I can go up or anywhere in between from up and down. And the cup that they've designed actually completely seals out the light, okay, better than any other camera that I can use. So if I take my glasses off and I go like this, I got two soft boxes aimed at me. So sometimes it's hard for me to read the screen, which is the same reason it's hard to drive at night, because the lights for me at my age and my whatever I am, okay, it's hard to recover from the bright light to down here on the floor. The response time for my eyes to get back to normal is longer than it was years ago, okay? And that's why I like the Tesla full self-driving, because especially at night, I can drive. It's not a problem, okay? But the problem is with all the bright lights, all right, if I have to suddenly look over to the right because there's somebody driving on the bike, my eyes just don't immediately get to the right light levels quickly like they used to, okay? I'm praying for Jesus to, my youth is renewed like the eagles. In Jesus' name, I apply that to myself, okay? But in the meantime, there's a car out there. It's called a Tesla, and it's got 9 cameras. I got 2. Okay. It's got a brain that is far faster and planned for so many things that I don't even plan for anymore. And I'm going like, this is going to extend the number of years I can drive. Okay. So what they did with the FX2 is they took out half of its ability just by the marketing, where you could shoot weddings with this camera. I would love to shoot weddings with the FX2. It would be amazing. I'm retired wedding photographer, okay? So they shot themselves in the foot because this is up until the A7 Mark V. This would have been the best camera you could buy from Sony before you spent $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for the A1 and their flagships, Mark II and stuff like that. All right. And I would say I took a step backwards going to the A7CR, but my joy and my results are the equivalent of an FX2. So that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. This is not a sports game where one team beats the other. I've got both cameras, so it's not like I have to, poo-poo on one. All right, but I do notice when I get up from here and I want to talk to you guys and I want to throw it up on Patreon, join my Patreon. It's free. Okay, so it's not like I'm pushing you over there because I want money, but there's nothing wrong with dropping $2, $5, $10, okay, to encourage me. You do get encouraged with money. When I get a check at the end of the month from Patreon, I'm not going to lie to you, it feels darn good. And all it takes is a few people dropping a few dollars, okay? I'm not even asking you to do that. I'm explaining to you that how to make YouTubers feel better. Now, I can't get what they call those things that you put super chats and stuff on here. This channel's not big enough. So I do have Buy Me a Coffee down there, but that's one extra step. And even I would have a hard time doing that, okay? But on a Patreon channel, okay, which is for artists, and I'm an artist over there apparently, all right, people have $5, $7 every month, and I just make videos for them. And then when the check comes in at the end of the month, all right, 40, 50 bucks, I go to Chick-fil-A and I say thank you very much. And it's a way to tap somebody on the back. And what is it? Support a starving artist? Remember the French stuff? All right. So anyway, when I grab a camera to throw a video up or Patreon, I grab this because of the convenience. Look how small. Look how I'm handling it with one hand and my pinky's out like I'm drinking tea. Okay? Like the Queen of England drinks tea and her pinky's way out there somewhere. All right? So this camera has just got a convenience going for it. And it's not plain. Like the A7C Mark II, it's great. Okay? Actually, you're looking at it right now. I have nothing negative to say. All right? But this one, they put the same camera as the one you're looking at. They put a 61 megapixel sensor in here. Changes everything. All right? And it's fun to use. So this is the day to live, okay, with cameras and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for coming in, Corey. I appreciate it. I love you, buddy. I appreciate it. Corey Mayo. I grew up with, in our church, we had Mr. Mayo, but he had a son that I was friendly with. His name is John, and a daughter. I think her name was Christine. Scotty's doing very well. I'm glad to hear that because we did pray for him. And Sammy saying, oh, the praying helped. Yep, I prayed a lot. And I asked you guys, pray for Sammy. Sammy, who got under the weather pretty good. But now I spoke to him, was it yesterday, Sammy? And other than being sleepy, he's doing great. And he's in the final periods because this is May and he's in college. Second year of college or third year? Oh, third year. He's got one more year to go. So Roy says, love the 850 except for video. It was never intended to be a video camera, but it would do okay. You could shoot 4K with it. You could plop it in here and it would do great. Now, if I went out to shoot a wedding with the video, I don't think so. I shoot A mode most of the time, and that's great. But there's no reason not to go to P, especially since you're running Nikons. Okay? You can fine-tune that camera so much that you could just go to P mode and not worry about anything. You could tell it, I prefer to shoot wide open, or I prefer to shoot closed apertures. I want things more sharp. I prefer to shoot at 1/60th or 1/125 or 1/200th. Okay. And the P mode will massage all that, and it's got to have some latitude somewhere. Okay. And that latitude would be by setting the ISO free, and you tell it how high the camera will go. So I was a very heavy A mode and S mode user. In Canon, it's called TV mode, okay, for shutter, until I started to learn how to manipulate the settings in the camera, where it was almost like playing pinball. When it would do this, bing, 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 everything would change like I would run the camera, and it would be in P mode. Now, if you need to, you drop it to A, you drop it to S. Okay, so if you're shooting RVs and stuff like that, they're not jumping and catching footballs, so the A mode would make sense. You want the aperture, okay? And if it's in low light, you drop the camera on a tripod. Let it do its thing, and it works. That's the most wonderful part. Okay, Randy's saying Lucky is howling again. Must be another ambulance. So when the ambulances or the fire trucks go by, Lucky is his German Shepherd, and the dog likes to sing with the ambulance siren. Hi, Lucky, if you can hear, it's Uncle Peter. How you doing? And he's starting to recognize my voice because we talk on speakerphone. And Randy says, oh, he's wagging his tail when he hears you say his name. Hi, Lucky. Being a good boy, Lucky? Be a good boy. So Randy just put up a video with the Viltrox 14, and I guess he said he's comparing it with this one. So this is the Viltrox 20mm 2.8. Now, the only thing wrong with this is the 20mm is too close to my face. I'm not comfortable with an in-your-face look. Other people can do that a lot better than me, and that includes Randy, okay? Me, I need it a little bit wider. So my favorite one has always filters down to either the 11mm 1.8 or the 14mm f4 from Viltrox. So the 11mm 1.8 is a actual Sony lens on the Sony body. That will always run best, okay? And it's just the way it is, because they're reverse engineering on these other lenses most of the time, unless they have a deal going with the camera company. F4 isn't as bad these days. As dynamic range improves, the easier it gets. Yeah, and they're doing better with ISO being cleaner and cleaner. And for pictures, denoise is an amazing feature. I switched from Lightroom to, what's the name of them? Photomator, and they've got the denoise feature in there. Wow. T777 sounds like 77 Sunset Strip. Yeah. If you can't choose a favorite camera, just go for 3 Ecamms: Olympus, Nikon, and Sony. And that's exactly what I'm running in here. Olympus is what I'm looking at right now. Hi, Olympus. Which one is this? How do you know which lens and which camera I'm using? You can look up in this corner, and I put a tag. If I can get my finger to work. I put a tag up here. Now we just switch cameras. What lens am I using? And what's the name of the camera? And usually, just about every time, whatever the F stop for the lens is, that's where I'm running it. So this is a 50mm 1.4 Nikkor lens, okay, and it's running at f1.4. Pa-dam! So that's how you could tell. Thanks for coming in, T7777P7X. Okay. I like that. So Roy's talking to you, 77T. Not Canon. I don't own one right now, but should be in the list. I think 777 was going for the fact that I'm running Olympus, Nikon, and Sony. So he noticed it. Thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. And I think that that's why he wrote the sentence. And he even put it in the correct order. So someone's paying attention. So T says, I have a Nikon, but I was talking about the 3 cameras Peter is using. See, I knew it. I knew it. They all look different, and they all look pretty good. I try to tune them in so they look good. I couldn't get the Olympus. Where is that Olympus? Here it is. I couldn't get the Olympus to tune in properly. Okay. I needed to go beyond what the parameters are in the menu. So what I did is I used the app called LumiLut, and that was made by one of my buddies in here, Sammy. All right. And instead of making a log LUT, I made a correction LUT. So this one is corrected in the colors, in the sharpness, and in the clarity. Okay. And I didn't change anything about the, well, I did change the exposure. I couldn't get because this camera starts at ISO 200, but I'm using an f1.2 lens. I needed to go lower than ISO 200, okay, or not shoot at f1.2. So a Micro Four Thirds camera, all right, I need the 1.2 to get that blurred background that I love. It's my thing, okay? You do you and I'll do me, okay? So I made a correction LUT, and this camera is running the correction LUT that I designed and created in the LumiLut. Now, this camera tonight, for some reason, I must have touched something because it looks a little dark to me. I'm afraid to go any higher because I am running it at 1.4. Like Randy taught me, it is what it is. Don't beat yourself up over it. So Roy says, can the FX2 eye cup be turned around for the left eye? Yes, it can. That's a very important feature, so you know, because that makes it a critical thing, especially for you. So I'm trying to find my overhead camera. Okay. So here's the eye cup. I like to use my left eye. Okay. That's the way that I learned. But this will, let's get it out there. This will pull out and remount the other way around. So it's good for the left eye or for the right eye. And it actually says that when I bought the camera and it came and I started to put it together. There's not much to put together in a camera, but it did say when you put the rubber eye cap, it goes both left or right. I'm actually sorry, this eye cap does not fit on some other cameras. That's how much I like this eye cap. Okay, one of the best ones that I've used. I don't think I've ever said that before. So thank you, Roy. Sammy says, have you found the viewfinder helpful while you're filming? Yes, I do. And the reason is this particular design blocks out all the other light. So if I go back to the overhead camera, it's not like the regular Canon or Nikon. Let's turn off the comment so you could see the thing. So this is designed, I said turn it off. This is designed, this is a painter's tape. This is telling me where the center of the frame is. Okay. So this is designed so that it actually seals your eye excellently. So you could be out in broad daylight, okay, and you can even move this whole thing up like maybe to a 45, and this is dampened, meaning it just doesn't flop up and down. Okay, I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's you really have to put some strong effort to make it move, and then it snaps into the home position that way. It does not snap into an upright position. Okay, and as you can see, it's a pretty good size viewfinder. Sorry for the glare. So it's a pretty good size viewfinder. Let's turn this way. So the viewfinder, the EVF, is actually one of the better sizes. That's one of the things that when this camera first came out, people were complaining. Oh my God, what kind of a viewfinder is that? It moves up and down. That's one of the best features on this camera. So that's why I said between Sony and YouTubers, they have really painted this camera incorrectly. This camera is one of the best buys, and it's actually cheaper than the new A7 Mark V. Okay, but it would be that one I would buy. Okay, and not to sound stupid, but it is the one that I bought. That's the one that I own. All right. Yes, the viewfinder is something I use actually more than I would expect. Auto driving cars still needs LiDAR or at least radar. All right, so this Momenta uses LiDAR in their system. They use cameras and they use LiDAR. And the new Rivian that they're developing that says they're going to have point-to-point driving in 2026, guess what year we're in? We're in 2026. It uses LiDAR. Sammy says, who doesn't like fun? Sammy, I thought you said the other day you didn't like to have fun. I'm just teasing you. I love Sammy. I love the ZR, except for the lack of EVF. So the ZR, yeah, it doesn't have an EVF. See, the cameras that I use and the ones that are on the tripod are two different sets. Okay. I know the Olympus has an EVF, and I know the A7C2, oh, we're looking at that one now, has an EVF, but the ZR does not. But when I go out to take pictures or anything to that effect, if it's something that I know I'm not going to need the cropping, I'll take the FX2 because of this light, because of the rubber cup. I use this outside. This, I have to take my glasses, I have to put it up like that. And now I see no light from the softboxes, and I got two not high power, but 200 watts in each one, two softboxes. Okay. So I use that. Now, if I feel for any reason I'm going to do some cropping and I want that Leica Q3 experience, boom, this is the guy I grab. That's the only one I got that'll do that. Other than the Q3 that was here for 3 or 4 weeks. And I would constantly grab that Q3 and took more pictures with the Q3 than I've taken in the last 2 years, because I'm mostly video. The Q3, it got me to start, hey, let's start taking pictures. Okay. And now that is following through with the A7CR. And I'm hoping this year that they go A7CR Mark II. They put that new processor chip in here, which limits the power that it takes, and it runs quicker, and it runs a lot cooler, and it's probably more powerful, which will allow the camera to do who knows what. Okay, so now what we know will probably trickle down into the Mark II of this camera. Actually, it'll trickle down into the Mark II of the FX2. It'll trickle down into the Mark II of, I'm guessing the A6700, which is a crop sensor. These are full frames. Okay, is that Bion's XR Mark II processor, because they did like Apple did, where they brought everything into one processor, okay? And they made it run cooler, they made it run faster, and they made it run taking less power. Sony did the same thing, and the first camera that's going to use that is the A7 Mark V, which Jim Monday has that, and Randy has that, okay? And they're coming out with their big boy that's going to be a Mark VI. What is it? The A7 A7R Mark VI. The names get me confused. In the old days, we had the Cadillac Fleetwood, the Sedan DeVille, the Eldorado, Lincoln Continental, Town Car. Now it's all codes. Hard to remember. We were saying the praying about the lens. Oh, okay. Now I remember. Not his cold. Okay. That's good. Remember 1 month ago we prayed about Nikon lens, and we would find the best person for the lens that gave you the best experience? Are you talking about me selling the lens? Yes. Sammy and I prayed that the lenses would start to sell because they became dormant. Now this guy came and bought the 24 millimeter. Boy, Sammy, if you're going to write a comment, why don't you write what you mean? How am I supposed to know what you're talking about, buddy? Okay. We did pray. Sammy and I prayed, okay, for the lenses to get the right person to come, and you couldn't get a better person. He has the Nikon D850. So when Sammy and I prayed together, we prayed in Jesus' name. We prayed not just to sell the lens. Oh, God, cause the lens to sell. Cause the right person that really needs this lens to come. And guess what? That prayer was answered. Right, Sammy? Okay. So Sammy said, let's pray about that. And I was very proud of him for suggesting that. And we got exactly that answer. The man that needed a 24 millimeter, he's got 2 kids, 1.4 for his D850. Man, he got a great lens that got sold for $450. You buy that today, it's over $2,000. Okay. But that one was for the D850. It wasn't for the mirrorless that we're running now. Okay. The same thing with this other one that I showed you. Sammy, we better pray, okay, for the right guy to come by that. All righty. All right. Hi, Parky. I like the name Parky. I like a name that's endearing, like with James. Okay, I call him Jamie. That's only because I feel close to him. He's a member of the family. He's learned not to be backstabbing and sharp here. Out in the else, he can do that. But over here, he's a very nice, sweet guy. And that's why I call him Jamie. He's kind of like a nephew, and he calls me Uncle Peter. So I hate to make you repeat yourself. I'm new here. I did hear, hey, don't leave so quick, Parky. No, it's on a self-timer, but I didn't get to read it. I did hear the FX2 was used in that new Drifter movie. Now that is something I didn't know. See, that's where the FX2, when it came out, what happened was because they put Cinema Line here, okay, the people that had FX3s said, this camera is not the upgrade we were looking for. Well, the camera wasn't for you. They were all slamming it because it wasn't the FX3 Mark II. No, this is in effect a Sony A7 Mark IV, even more advanced. And now they made the A7 Mark V, but they advanced this camera so much that it just sits in a sweet spot. So it wouldn't be surprising to me that they use it to make movies. I would use it to make movies. And with the same camera that I put my money down to buy it, I would use it to take pictures on a professional level, which means I would use it to take pictures when I take pictures of the new baby, or when I come to your house and you make a nice dinner and you include a wonderful dessert. I love desserts. Can't you tell? Don't I look nice and chubby to you? I love my desserts. Okay? But this is an awesome camera. It's the best all-around camera you could buy, and the only one that would compete with that slot, in my opinion, okay? This has to be my opinion, because another guy would come and go like, no, the Fuji's a better camera. And that would be what their experience would be. And I'd have to honor that, okay? But from my experiences, this is the best camera to buy, or the A7 Mark V. And they tilt one way or the other. So the A7 Mark V has something very small and meaningless, but it means something to me. It has skin smoothing. I'm 72 years old. This is a Sony. It's got skin smoothing. I have it turned on. Do I look 72 here? Well, wait till we get somewhere. Wait till we get to the Olympus that does not have skin smoothing. Okay? They left skin smoothing out of this camera. Why? What the hell is wrong with Sony? It's something between this ear and this ear that they don't understand, that the FX2, okay, is an all-around camera that does great video above and beyond what you would expect, okay? And it does great still pictures above and beyond what you would expect. And then they came out and put Cinema Line on here. And all the boys that have FX3 started poo-pooing this camera, when this is actually the best Sony camera to buy. Okay? You can get a little bit better or equal to by going to the A7 Mark V. And the choice is totally about features. This has a fan. The A7 Mark V does not have a fan. This has shutter angle ability. The A7 Mark V does not have shutter angle ability. The A7 Mark V has the new processor, runs cooler, takes less power. Okay, this, you got to use the fan. But it has the AI chip in here and the regular high processor chip. Now, this camera does not have skin smoothing. So I had to mimic the skin smoothing with my knowledge. Most people don't have that knowledge, and I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying when they don't include it on a camera like this, most people don't know how to make their skin look a little bit better. And when I print out a portrait, because it's a job, okay, especially girls, they want their faces to look good. They're very fashion oriented. And even guys, they're not looking to look ugly. They're looking to look good, okay? No skin smoothing. Hello. Sony, bad choice, okay? Fix it. What else can I say? And my favorite feature, I haven't even mentioned it. And that is on both of these cameras and almost any new Sony you pick, not on the Nikon, so this is a dig directly against Nikon, okay, is these cameras will record the gyro information, which allows me to choose that if I don't like how the stabilization came out, I can use a software that's free in my computer and make it look like I have one of those sticks underneath where you hold it. It's called a gimbal, okay, and make it look like, man, you've got professional gimbal going? No. This will record the gyro information. Canon doesn't include that. Nikon doesn't include that. But I will hand it to Canon. The new R6 Mark III, that one single camera, where there's 10 different cameras from Sony that do it. That one single camera, their newest camera, they added the gyro information. And that becomes critical. Because to me, I don't like a jittery. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make a video I'll put it out Sunday at midnight, this coming Sunday, okay? And it's going to show you, I'm going to make it gyro versus regular stabilization. And the program I'm going to use is a free program. It's called Gyro Flow, okay? Because Sony has a free program also. It's called Catalyst Browse, okay? It sucks. Sorry, but it's free. It's available. But you had a nice group of gentlemen with large brains in their heads came out with a software called Gyro Flow. It's free, free, free. Like my buddy Luis Vega says, it's free $100. Okay, free $100. All right. So, and I'll put that out for my next week on the big channel, not here, on the big channel. Okay. So thanks, Parky. That's new information. I don't even know what movie most movies they make today I don't appreciate much. Okay, I like older movies and enjoy the quality, the acting. Now everything's got a little helping of politics with it, and that just pisses me off. I have a hard enough time with the Christians. They can't decide if America is not in the Bible, and therefore it needs to be gone. And that means I live in a country that has to fall from grace. This is why the preachers. This is not the negative people. Okay? So you got to be careful these days. YouTube dishes out a lot of stuff, and you just got to guard your ears and you got to guard your eyes. And if you don't see what you think is right, first place to check is right in here. Okay? If something doesn't set well with you, ask a few people that are into the Bible, know what they're talking about, and see what they think. So you got your hot topics in your politics, you got your hot topics in your cameras, you got your hot topics in your Christianity, you got your hot topics in your EVs and your cars. Oh, by the way, the guy that came and bought the Nikon lens from me was driving a BMW X3 S-Drive. I've never stood next to that car before. I was so impressed. And the color was called Brooklyn Gray. Wow, what an amazingly beautiful color. So if I was going to buy a gas car, I would go and look for one of those. It's a BMW X3. His was a 2022. Brooklyn Gray, black interior. He had 2 baby seats in the back, so he's got 2 kids. See, you got to turn on your detective eyes. Okay, so thanks, Parky. I appreciate you coming and not hiding, but saying something. That's an appreciation sent just for you. So Norm says I usually shoot at the sharpest aperture of each lens, which is usually 2 from below the bottom. That will give the best results at a speed appropriate for the subject. ISO as low as practical, but that's not as crucial today as 10 years ago. Thank you for the last part of the sentence. Today, either one of these cameras, I go to 25,000. What's the number? 12,8 and 25,600. Okay? Not free of noise, but it doesn't bother anybody except Roy. I'm picking on you, Roy. Okay? Who's looking for noise in my pictures, but the rest of the people are not. So I only used Roy as an example because of his many years of experience. And you, Norm, how many years you've been taking pictures? So you will recognize the noise, and you will notice when it doesn't matter. Who gives a crap? Okay, except those people that have their magnifying glasses and they're looking at it and going, I see noise. Oh, I see noise. Well, F you, okay? If it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I used to read the stuff by Peter Gallen. It's amazing how many names went by the wayside. Monty Zucker, who actually became friends with me because he moved to Miami. I never met him in person, but he took to liking me because we both have a history of having Great Danes. And he needed a little help with his Great Dane. So I said, oh, we had a litter of 15 Great Danes. So we became friends. He sent me a couple of his videos. I use some of his techniques to this very day. Photographers should find out which is their dominant eye. Well, I would say your dominant eye is your right eye, right, Roy? Either he's laughing or he's pissed at me right now because his right eye is not his dominant eye. He had a shrapnel accident in that eye, and he actually has to go to the emergency room every once in a while to get the pressure taken out. I pray for you, Roy, on that, of course. Roy is one of the first guys. If I say I need help, actually all of you guys, the family that's in here, which is one of the reasons I don't harp on the money, is because when I need help, you're the guys that come to my aid. And on the last round, Roy was the first one in the door. Thank you, Roy. I don't forget things like that. I appreciate it. I found out that when my background wallpaper changes, my camera either goes darker or lighter. That means you've got auto meter going on. You didn't lock it down. You got to lock it down so it doesn't make the change. And the same thing if you're not just Randy, if you're shooting in front of a window, like Sammy's got the window in his garage, when the sun gets brighter, his scenes get brighter in the garage because he set up a nice set, brand new set in his garage. But his garage door's got window. So when the sun gets brighter, everything changes in there. And when the sun drops down, and the same thing happens to me in the kitchen. When the sun comes out, we have a big patio that's I don't want to say it's white, but it's almost white. All of a sudden, my exposure changes. So this is where a photographer notices this stuff. So Roy's going, auto exposure? Yeah, Randy, I think he'll answer. The viewfinder is great. Oh, hi, Simple. Simple Light Media. Xylem. Hey, Xylem. The viewfinder is great. It's way better than people on YouTube want to admit. The FX2 is currently my favorite camera I have. Thank you. I like you. Simple Simon says. Okay. I love this camera. If they make this camera and put the new 67 megapixel sensor in here, and they put the new processor in here, I'm in. That's how much I love this camera, the layout. Even though it's a little bit larger, it's still easy and I'm a small guy. Okay, my hands are small. They're not big hands. And yet, when I put my hands back like this, I don't push buttons on this camera, and I'm locked in. My pinky has got underneath here grip, because you can get punched, okay, and the camera can get knocked out of your hand if I talk to the right camera. Okay, apparently I'm having a lot of fun because we're running a little bit past the 1 hour. And I thought this was going to be a short show. Should teach me, right? Yep, FX2 is definitely a winner chicken dinner camera. I agree with you. 2 thumbs up. Don't mind me. I get silly sometimes. You just gotta humor me. Hello to Peter and friends. The LUT works on the face, but the color of your shirt looks different. I like the picture of the Nikon the best. Yay! Well, at least things are going forward, right, Woody? I appreciate that. And my face is the most important part. Well, I have to wear clothes, okay? But my face, if I wore a red shirt, you'd probably have a different comment. Roy, I have ISO and aperture are fixed. I believe it is the matrix exposure that may be the cause. And Roy is saying, I found that all screensaver backgrounds are 18%. Oh, I doubt. Not that I found. He's saying, I doubt that the screensaver backgrounds are 18% gray. No, it depends on what the heck it is. Norm says, why can't I give you a thumbs up? Do a refresh on your screen. I had that trouble with Randy's video the other day. I was hitting the thumbs up and nothing happened. So I just closed it, brought it back in, and then it worked fine. So, yeah, you guys that haven't given me a thumbs up, what are you waiting for? They're free tonight. Bop, 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 bop. Norm, I just read that one. I have the FTZ adapter and would like that lens too. Are you in Miami? I'm not sure about shipping that thing. My email's in most of my shows, so you can email me. If we can make a deal, we'll make a deal. If we can't make a deal, then we don't make a deal. You make my day, you know. Bop, 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 bop. Misato. Unc is very honorable. Thank you. That's a very high compliment. The reason that I've been running a Christmas room background since 2008, and maybe even before, okay, because this happened because my dad, anyway, there's a story behind it, is I like that Christmas room feeling. I like that Christmas morning feeling when you get up and all is well with each other. Peace on earth, goodwill towards men, that type of a thing. So this is not a room that we fight in. You don't get up on Christmas morning and get into a blown out argument and wind up on the news because somebody shot somebody else. No. In this one, we love each other. If you got nothing nice to say, don't say it. It doesn't need to be said. Okay? And I act the same way towards the equipment. If somebody says, oh, I love Fuji, I love Olympus, I love whatever is, okay, I'm glad because you're the one that has to use it. And I want you to enjoy what you're using. This is a hobby. This is where you come and relax. Not only my show, excuse me, not only my show, but when you use your camera, you should be relaxed and you should be enjoying yourself. That's the whole point. That's why it's called a hobby. Some people bowl, some people go and play with their boats, some like to work on their cars, some have golfing, tennis, sports, okay? Most of us are into cameras, and you could tell I get sidetracked on other type of topics here and there. Can't help it. Okay. Randy's telling me to get off. Okay, I will. I'll be back in a minute. Can you donate your FX2 to me? Yes, I can. Actually, Chris, why didn't that come up? I can actually donate my FX2 to you since you are in a receiving mode, okay? But like the Bible says, it's better to give than to receive. So if you give me something that would be a sizable gift that I would deem appropriate, I would like to say thank you and give you my FX2. It would be somewhere in the $3,200 area. There's the donation things are in the thing below. Okay, you click on them, put in $3,200 and send that to me. And you know what? I will be highly motivated to say thank you to you, Chris, and give you my FX2. Other than that, I'm not motivated. That simple. And you want to make cool car videos. I hope one of them includes a Tesla. I love the Teslas. R. E-Prize. You are such a cool person. Ah, I got you fooled. Ask Randy how cool I am. Randy, actually, most of the people in here are good friends with me. They've known me for years. And I have a big channel, and I don't get this intimate on the big channel. But on this channel, I let my hair down, and I talk about what I want. Sometimes I talk about washing machines, washing my car, Teslas. This new thing I saw today that just freaked me out. They drove around in China, and those people, they drive electric scooters there. And this car managed to miss every one of them. I thought, oh my God, it's going to hit that person. And it didn't. So, out of spec reviews is where I saw the video, and I had to watch it twice. And it's a long video, but it gave me hope that another choice, I might still buy the Tesla when I get enough money. Those of you like Chris that wants to, that he is so itchy to donate to me, you know, Million is Million, in case you can't spell it. I will probably buy a Tesla so that I could safely go to the grocery store and come back without hitting anyone, without running anybody over, and without hurting myself. So that becomes paramount. So R, how you doing, R? Do I just call you R? Are you feeling well today? Are you happy today, R? Thanks for saying something instead of just lurking. I appreciate that. 77 Sunset Strip. I wish I didn't see noise, but just ignore it. I also can't use noise reduction because I see a loss of detail. So I'm stuck at low ISOs. If you're talking about pictures, there's a routine that works very, very, very well. It's called denoise. Now, I use Photomator because I can't afford to pay the monthly charge that Adobe wants for Lightroom, but for so many years, I've used Lightroom. Now, for video, I find that most of the places, unless you're the noise police, the noise doesn't matter. This matters more than anything else. People want to see their face. And that's the first thing they look at. If you take a picture of 10 people full of noise, the wrong color, everything wrong, and you show it to some gentleman or some woman that's in that picture, the first thing they're going to look at is their face. We're self-centered beings. That's the way we are. I'm the same way. Okay, you talk to Sammy or Randy or Jim. Okay, I keep saying, I didn't look so good that night. This black spot on my face. Oh my God, I hate it being there. I'm vain. I don't mean to be. I apologize. But that's the way we are as humans. So Norm says, here are 2 thumbs up and live long and prosper with a Merry Christmas for good measure. And Woody's giving me all those thumbs up. And T77 is giving me thumbs ups. All right, so where is Randy? There he is. He knows my saying. God willing, and the bridge isn't up. I will see you guys Friday. And what did I say I was going to talk about Friday? I thought I said what I was going to talk about. I forgot. So whatever comes up between now and Friday, we'll talk about that. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. You guys that are going to watch this on the rewind, make sure you give a comment so that I know that you're there and watching, because they rerun this. You can watch it all week long. All right. Thank you very much. God willing, and the bridge isn't up. I will see you Friday night at 10. And my goal is the sky and not the grave. All righty? Bye-bye. Bye, for real. Go home. Don't just sit there. Go home. Bye.